Today we're going to take a look at this big, thick boy Juggernaut and how he has an old school feature that you did not expect that could probably change the way you play with this. Not probably, it will. And see if he is as good as I thought he was, because I saw him at San Diego Comic-Con, and even before that I was like, you know what? This big beefy boy is going to be one of the best things that Hasbro's going to release. This is part of the Gamerverse. SH Figuarts is playing in the Gamerverse, and I'm here for it because more equals better. We have competition. We got a beautiful Cyclops and Spider-Man from SH Figuarts. Let's open this thing and find out if it is any good. On the inside is that. This thing's heavy. It is very heavy. I pre-ordered mine from GameStop. And, you know, they don't have a lot of accessories packed in here with this guy, but that is kind of a Hasbro thing anyway. I will have links in the description for you to get yours. I'll try to my best. I think he's still available to pre-order, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal, depending on when you're watching this. This is huge, and I think what's going to be great about this is that you can put it in with your other stuff, so your Mayfax, or if you do the SH Figuarts stuff that's coming out for Gamerverse, I think you're going to have a nice setup, because this guy is huge. He is very, very big, and he's going to tower over your Marvel Legends, of course, but also over top of your imports, and you know, nobody's going to be upset about that. Now, there's a lot of positive things to say about this guy, and then there are some critiques, and the biggest critique is just they cannot, for the life of them, get a matte finish to go across an entire figure. I don't understand why that's such an ordeal for Hasbro with a matte finish. It's just like, either just commit to it or don't, because they're in this weird spot in between where you end up with stuff like this, where the shoulder pieces and the helmet beautifully mattified, and then you got the glossy chest. Now, one could argue that a glossy look is nice on this, but then why is this mattified? So my belief is that one of these is supposed to be mattified and the other's not. It's weird. This is also coming across as a little bit of a different color on camera. Really, I can't tell that much. I mean, I can see it, but it's not as noticeable in person. Same thing's happening here with his little butt cheeks down to his legs. These are different colored plastics, for whatever the case may be, for whatever the reason may be. And it could be as simple as applying a mattified finish to something and not being able to execute it well. Now, this is something that I think is important for Hasbro. So this is more of like a message, and not that they're going to listen to me, not that they care, because they're too big of a company and they're not listening to their own employees. I'm sure of that. When they step back and make something from scratch, from the ground up, they can execute things really well. And this is an example of that. And the completely new figures from the X-Men 97 line, when they're built from the ground up, but they keep reusing parts. And the more I looked at that Emma Frost, not that this is their review, I already did that. That Emma Frost has a lot of old Marvel Legends parts, like her legs and stuff, so there's like a lot of muscles and things, which is not part of the Toon aesthetic. That's more simplified. So I think if they would have committed from the ground up on all of these things, they could be in a much better place, but they're still just reusing so much stuff. And you see it a lot in the Gamerverse line with the pins and stuff on random characters. Anyway, this is a review about this guy, and I should probably talk about it. So up first, he does have classic punching hands, a lot of details, nice sculpt work in the hands, a lot of veins and, you know, wrinkles for the knuckles and stuff. It's kind of wild how much is happening here, but they even added the white part of your fingernails, which you can see in my fingernail versus his fingernail. It's the same. Those are subtle details that are certainly welcome. The amount of detail going on in the helmet, on the inside of the helmet, is really, really nice. So you have the mouth as its own piece applied behind the face, and then of course the helmet on top of that. And I really wish that we could take this off. Oh, we can't. That's what it's like. Wow, how tiny is that? This is what it looks like. Yeah, so the mouth is its own piece on the inside, and then that's the head. So you can't remove the helmet and have a dude's face in there, even though there's, like, I think a lot of sculpting going on that you just don't see. See, there's like cheeks and wrinkles and eyes. So they have a whole face in there. You just will never be able to see it. A little unfortunate. Maybe they'll reuse that in the future and have some version of him with like a damaged helmet or removed helmet. But it gives you an idea of what the articulation is going to be like, which is not a ton, and mostly, I'm sure, a problem because of the shape of his head. But it's Juggernaut at the same time, so you can't expect a whole lot of articulation. Now, he can look to the side a little bit, but this pointy spot in the chin, which locks into his chest, which helps the sculpt, does cause some challenges when trying to rotate it, but you can definitely make it work. That's as far down as he's gonna go, and then that is as far up as he's gonna go. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do. I think he's gonna be fine. I wouldn't expect a lot of head articulation anyway. The arms, now these look pretty solid. There's a pretty good even amount of paint going across the entire figure here. I think that these things come off. Not necessarily that you would want bare-fisted stuff, but that is how you're going to attach this dome piece, which is his effect. I mean, it's scaled down from the game, but they are clearly also playing it safe and not saying this is exactly Marvel vs. Capcom. It's nice to have an effect. I would like a full body one, but you're never going to get that, not from these guys. We have some pretty interesting alternate hands. It's nice that we have them, for sure, because it is, you know, again, accessories with Marvel Legends is very rare, especially alternate hands, but this kind of, I don't know. I mean, it's really just an open palm, but I think depending on the figure, you could probably make this work as a gripping hand. And then this one, which would probably be best to just grip somebody's like arm or leg if you're trying to do some fun poses. I would say you're gonna enjoy these things the most if you avoid trying to mimic stuff from the game. Forget that these are game characters. Let's look at the rest of the articulation. His shoulders go back really well, which is gonna be fun for some posing. I think they should have done a soft chest piece like they did with the Hulk, so you could really get some nice range in here. It's still good enough to get something like this for a pose if he's trying to be intimidating or something, cracking some knuckles. The shoulders do obviously rotate all the way around. There's some bicep rotation. You have a little bit of elbow articulation. It's not a ton, but that's really just due to the thickness of this guy. It's just less than 90 degrees, but you know what? Who can complain about what you're getting out of this thing? The hands do have some pretty decent articulation considering their size, but this one I'm having a lot of trouble with, and it keeps popping off. Now the torso, it's not really sure what's on here, but it keeps pulling itself back into position, so it's almost like he's got, maybe this is a feature that none of us knew about, that this is going old school with some punch action. Check that out. Punch! Juggernaut punch! So I don't know what's happening on the inside of there, and I'd be a little afraid to try to pop it apart, but that could probably become a pretty frustrating thing for trying to get him to rotate into a position if he's just gonna keep snapping back into place. So if you needed a Juggernaut to arch his back for that butt, you can definitely do it. And I'm really actually surprised, genuinely surprised about the crunch. So if you got a Colossus to fight this guy and just punch him right in his guts, it's gonna be sweet. The legs go out actually almost into perfect splits, which is pretty impressive considering how thick he is. His legs have a lot of range, which is really nice to see. Rotation there at the upper thigh, and it's not just a clean cut like they do on pretty much every figure. You get less visual cuts in this guy, like things are overlapping, and it's a nice change. The knees barely bend. I mean, it's still pretty good. I say barely. There's rotation there, so you kind of have this kneecap cover, which is interesting. Now, what's nice here is that this is a new type of knee. I mean, they may have done it in the past, but this isn't your standard Marvel Legends kneecap where it's like in 3 pieces. I actually think this visually looks way better. You have a standard ankle, pretty decent range there. Honestly, that's impressive. Maybe it would be good to come up a little bit more, but we do have toe articulation, which is very rare. Overall, I mean, this is a pretty solid dude. It is very fun. Said it several times this year that I think this is going to be one of the best things that Marvel Legends has made, because it does work outside of Marvel Legends for collectors that, you know, maybe don't necessarily like what Marvel Legends is doing. I'm happy to say that I still feel the same way. Now that this is in my hands, I'm even more excited to get the X-Men 97 Sentinel in that I ordered, which hopefully should be pretty soon. And of course, the Apocalypse. So if you are interested in a 12-inch Apocalypse, definitely pre-order that thing. I do think the pricing is actually very fair considering what you're getting and compared to this guy. This guy only has these 3 accessories. What was he, like $70? Apocalypse is larger than this and comes with tons of accessories. So it's interesting. I wish that they would just do more original stuff like that from the ground up work, because I'm very excited about those items. I'm very happy to have this guy. I think he does work really, really well. And the only other thing to talk about really is his scaling. So the first thing I would like to compare him to is this Jubilee from Mondo. This is still the most beautiful Jubilee action figure that exists on the planet. And look at that, they're the same size. Now, obviously that makes him look smaller, but she is on the smaller scale for Mondo. She's like 9 1/4 tall or something. Up next, we have the X-Men 97 Wolverine, which this is much better. You want to have these guys in a much more dramatic scaling, at least for comic and cartoon stuff. There's your classic suit for Wolverine, and man, these two are gonna be awesome on display together. You really gotta have these together. Up next is Rogue, which again, I mean, let's just stop looking at these because we know they scale well. Now, the best Gambit that you can buy on the market is the Mafex one, and this is such a beautiful pairing. Now, there's a clear difference in the quality of these two figures, in my opinion. I think Mafex definitely stands out when it comes to the details and the matte finish where they want it, but it's still good enough to go together. Overall, I am very satisfied with this Juggernaut, and again, I think regardless of what brand you're collecting for your X-Men stuff or your Marvel figures, this is a must-have. Well, there you have it, folks. If you want to get this thing, again, I have some links down in the description, hopefully. And if you'd like to see some more Marvel Legends get reviewed, then be sure to click the top link right there. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.